Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is a doozy. It's Secrets to Timeless Beauty, and we're going to be talking about getting your sexy back on and bringing out your inner goddess. Woohoo! I can't wait to have this conversation with my wonderful co-host. She is a holistic therapist, esthetician, and coach, and she is world renowned for the services that she provides and the help that she brings to her clients. Let's welcome Katrina Valente. Hi there.
Hi. Good evening.
It's time to talk about getting your sexy back on in advance of Valentine's Day. I'm pretty excited about this. How about you?
Oh, well, let's try. Let's see what we come up with.
Well, before we start that conversation, and we want to welcome everyone to the show, I'm going to spotlight you, and I'd love for you to share with our audience a little bit about your backgrounds and the work that you do.
Okay, well, I have been in the holistic beauty industry for the last 28 years. I have traveled around the world as a visiting practitioner, offering all my treatments, which would be facials, different kinds of massage and healing modalities. But in the last few years, I've been doing a lot more coaching and clearings of energy on people, and learning a lot more about the male-female dynamic and the goddess energy.
I love this, talking about the goddess energy. One of our team members, Madeline Chan, she always talks about the inner goddess and how you can bring that out, whether it's through voice or through performing arts or just through the way you dress and the way you carry yourself.
Absolutely. It all starts with you and how you feel about yourself on the inside. So you have to start learning what makes you feel like that and go ahead and do it, you know.
It's so true. And I shared with you, and I've shared with our audience, that right now I'm going through a major eczema flare, and I didn't feel too hot and sexy. As I got dressed and put on my makeup and my jewelry, this dress, I thought, yeah, I can channel some sexy today. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, when actually clothes have got a big thing, you know, in that nuance. I mean, when you put something on that makes you feel good and sexy or slim and beautiful, it changes your whole energy almost in an instant.
It sure does. And Katrina, I'd love to have your thoughts about this. Some people say that it's a manufactured day, Valentine's Day, that everybody has to run out and get cards.
1,000%, 1,000%.
So
the pressure.
Yes, the pressure. And then we go back to being whomever we are anyway, but because we never really changed. We just, for one day, maybe we put on that little sexy red nightie or something. I don't know. So what are your thoughts about how we can have our inner goddess channeled all year round, not just for one day?
Look, you have to start with a positive attitude and always believe that your glass is half full, not half empty. You know, I always start my day with positive affirmations, with being grateful, and, you know, make a gratitude list. Write down 10 things that you're grateful for every morning. And then you'll realize how truly blessed you are. You know, we forget about the little things, you know, having a roof over our head, having water, hot water in the tap, having a car to drive, having a comfortable bed to sleep in. I mean, we're in 2% of the world's population that have these things.
That's a great reminder. And also for me, I woke up and I was just so grateful that I'm really now a good sleeper. I was never somebody who slept well. Now I'm like, wow, I get a gold star for this. And then I go outside and it's absolutely gorgeous outside. The sun is out and you hear the birds. And I think there's just so much to be thankful for.
There is. I mean, look at where we are in the world right now, and I think it's brought a lot of perspective to all of us about what's important and what's not.
Definitely. Definitely. I was just saying to someone the other day that I used to have a very busy social life and meeting people in person all the time. I belong to this club and whatnot. So now my social life is really on this computer, but I feel like I have closer relationships with people than I ever could have imagined. Like for example, you're there in Dubai and I'm here in the United States and we have this connection and it's amazing. And as to whether or not I'll ever get to Dubai or you'll come here, who knows? But yet we still form this friendship that we wouldn't have the opportunity to have had probably otherwise before the pandemic because
No,
we
I
weren't.
mean, look, where there's a negative, that it's always followed by a positive. You've got to look what you've lost, you've also gained. I mean, it's just the law of averages. That's the way life is. So, you have to see the positive in this, absolutely, for sure.
Definitely. And Katrina, a number of the services, if not all of them that you provide, really help someone get in tune with themselves and feel more attractive. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, aesthetics is the name of the game for women. I mean, you look good, you feel good, you take care of yourself. A lot of people would use the word vanity to me, but for me, it's about self respect. When you look at a woman, you can tell that she respects herself by the way she looks, by the clothes she wears, by how clear her skin is, by how well groomed she is. So, it's important. It's really important. When people look at you, they judge you within 3 seconds. First impressions count, and it's never forgotten, a first impression.
That's very true. And throughout the course of my life, I've met a number of people who would say, "Oh, I don't want to have a massage, or I'm not going to get a facial, or I'm not going to do any of these things because I'm too busy. I just don't have time." But yet, you have to make the time to take care of yourself because people can see that you're not taking care of yourself. And then it quickly goes downhill. And it's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with that person. Not judging, but your appearance does mean something.
Absolutely, 1,000%. I mean, that's life, unfortunately, So you have to really, it doesn't have to take a lot. I mean, you could do things on your own. You can do home facials. You can use a nice body oil after your shower. You can take a nice bath and put salts in, and essential oils and candles and things that make you feel good, things that bring you back into balance. But appearance is really important. We just cannot get away from it. And you can really tell a lot about a person by the way they present themselves.
I agree. I mentioned this before, but I think I'm coming up to interviewing almost 1,200 people in the last
Wow.
18 months. And I'm very observant. And when I have a guest, someone I don't know that they've registered to come on the show, sometimes I don't say anything, but I'm actually speechless at how they're showing up for a television interview in a room with a bed with clothes all over the place and closet doors open. And I think, is this really what you want the world to see about you, that you couldn't take 5 minutes to situate yourself? And it's not a judgment, but it's true. It's the reality of things, especially, and I mentioned this before, when I was in my corporate role and we did a lot of driving. Like, you would spend a day in the field with somebody or your manager came with you. You can tell a lot about how someone keeps their car.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. I mean, yeah. I mean, that always shocks me. especially men, you'll get some guys that will be very well dressed and whatever, and then you get in their car and it's like they're living in the back seat.
Right. It's like, oh, you went to Starbucks, you had McDonald's, or you had it's just all in the back seat of the car.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just went and cleaned my car out the other day. And we were talking on another show about cleaning out your closets, getting rid of things you don't need. And I've had another big clear out actually this week, and I've got rid of so many books. And I took my car and I've got it serviced inside and outside, and got rid of all the things from the side pockets and everything. And it does make you feel lighter. I mean, it does.
It
It's
definitely
not a
does.
joke.
It's less clutter. My car is always, I would say, I want to use the word pristine inside because that's not a great word, but it's always like there's an umbrella in the back and that's it. There's nothing on the seats, there's no clutter, there's no trash, but the outside of the car could be washed a little bit more because I don't drive my car that much. And sometimes I look and I go, that is a reflection of you. You should keep it washed on a regular basis. But it's also, you're taking money and kind of just throwing it to the wind because then it rains but the inside,
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah, that's great. Because a lot of people, a car for some reason seems harder to keep clean. I mean, I have all my gym stuff that I keep in there all the time, towels for the gym, baseball hats. And I sort of compartmentalize them all and put them right in the back in the boot, So my back
Yes.
seat's nice and clean and oh my God. But
Well,
it's like the goddess energy it has to start from within. And you have to feel it, you have to respect yourself, you have to know where your boundaries are with other people, you have to take care of yourself physically, and be positive, be a positive person. Always look at what you're gaining from something, not what you're losing.
good points. I know for me, if I don't have my nails done, then I don't feel good about myself. It's like have to have, and we both have red. Da, 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 da. So when you're deciding on a lipstick color or a nail polish color, how do you decide? Do you typically go to the same one or two, or are you more adventurous?
I have been buying some lipsticks lately and I always go for nude colors. I mean, this is a bit of an orangey, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone. And the nails are always red, dark blue, burgundy.
Dark blue, interesting.
Yeah, I
So
love dark blue.
now, when you wear the dark blue, do you feel differently than you do if you're wearing the red or the burgundy?
Yeah, I think so. It's like a navy blue. And it's actually one of my favorite colors, and it's not my coloring at all. But interestingly enough, I am an indigo color. My friend Mark Wentworth, who you might want to have on your show, he's very interesting. He does color in a different way than I do it. And he told me that I'm an indigo. And it's more about your personality, but it's also about the color. And that's my favorite nail color, indigo blue.
So you already had that as your favorite color before he told you this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I know for me, I'm typically always wearing red, but another one of our team members, she had on this beautiful sort of a purple color, like very a lavender lilac. So I went and bought it and I was wearing it up until last night when I changed my nail polish. But I feel different. I feel very kind of elegant with the red, and with the lilac, I felt more playful.
Yeah, I mean, the red is a classic. It's vampy, it's sexy, it's everybody has red nails for Valentine's Day. And lately, the last year, I've been wearing nudes, and I'll always maybe do one nail a glitter, like silver glitter or gold glitter. And I'm liking the nudes, whereas before I would never wear nudes.
Yeah, it's funny how our taste changes. And I
Yeah.
might have mentioned this on another show, but many, many years ago when I started working in corporate America, I had acrylic nails, I think they had just come out, and my real nails were very long anyway. I mean, I actually have a picture of my nails. They were like this long. And I would go and have them done, and I'd have them painted like leopards or zebras. And so these giant long nails, it was, I don't know, it was some kind of weird phase. And at work, I would wear, a suit, very conservative, and then I'd have these crazy nails. So I think when I look back on it, I was trying to say I'm conservative to a point, but there's another side. I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean,
sure.
it was. I think it really started in America, that crazy nail and all the pictures that you'd get put on your nails and everything.
Yeah, it's very popular. And then we went to gel. I had gel nails for a little while, and then I stopped because I didn't like having to continuously go and have my nails done. So now I do them myself, and they're fairly, they grow really well. I have to cut them back. So
Wow, you look very
yeah.
professional. No, I have gelish every 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's the
What's
nail polish.
gel-ish?
The gelish is a polish that doesn't chip.
Okay.
Yeah,
And does it really stay for 2 weeks?
yeah,
Yeah.
solid. You can do anything. Wash the dishes 100 times, scrub the floors. It does not come off.
We want a video of you washing the dishes and scrubbing the floors, and then we want to see your nails. Well, I know for me that I have to do my nails probably 3 times a week because they're
Yeah,
always chipping.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is 2 weeks. You can forget about it.
Yeah, that's nice. And typically I'll do them before I go to bed, and then I wake up and they're all matted and I have to
Oh,
put the top
yeah.
coat on, but anyway, when you talk about sexy, something comes to mind. I'm wondering what your thoughts are. So whether it's practicing yoga or going to my love solid core, whatever it is, if you're in bare feet, I see this all the time. People don't take care of their feet, men and women, and yet they're in the public domain where we can see them. No judgment, just observation. So, what are your thoughts about that?
I live in Dubai. Everybody, even if they do nothing else, they have manicures and pedicures. So
Interesting.
it's something that you don't see often here. Even men, there are many male salons that do facials, manicures, pedicures, waxing, massage. Even men take care of themselves more here than I think the average man in Europe or America. So but feet are ugly to begin with. So to have feet that are not taken care of is just like, oh,
But when
no.
you think about sexy and inner goddess, but you put it from the male perspective, if you were really into a guy and he had feet that are just not well taken care of, would you say anything?
I absolutely would. I would send him for a pedicure.
Now, not
I
all
would,
guys are open to getting pedicures, though, right?
yeah, I guess so. But it's grooming. It's taking care of yourself. So I would explain to him what that actually meant. And that's something that can be rectified. But it does say a certain thing about a person. There's no getting away from it. Judgment, no judgment. But yeah, I think
Well, I
you
want to
have
take it
to.
one step further, which is, and I wonder if this has ever happened to you. You meet someone, you have a connection with them, and you think, you know what? I can overlook that shirt, those pants I'm not that thrilled with. He's wearing those sandals. I'm not into them. Once I start the relationship with him, I'm going to remake him. And all of a sudden, you see a couple of months later, people are like, wow, Joe looks really different. And he looks like your Joe because you dressed him and designed him. But you had that attraction with him anyway, but decided you need to remake him. Has this happened to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a lot of men that are not very style conscious. So I think a lot of them appreciate a little bit of help in that department. And I love to watch that American show. What is it? Where the five gay guys, and they take somebody and they completely revamp them and their home. It's the Fab Five.
I haven't heard of this.
Really?
No.
Oh, it's amazing. And they all take different positions. Like one does the styling, one does the hair and grooming, the other one does the home, the other one does the emotional therapy, and the other one does
Wow.
the cooking.
How about that? I'll have to
Yeah,
look into that.
it's amazing. I'll send you the name. I've forgotten the name. I watch it all the time. They've got quite a few series out now, and it's amazing. So I think, yeah, with men, I think a lot of them are open to suggestion, you know.
I just know that in my relationships that I've had in the past, people have tried to remake me as well. And at the time, it seemed like it was a great idea because I was getting new clothes and new shoes. And but then eventually they wanted to totally change me. They didn't like the fact that I worked or the fact that I worked out. And I just wondered, did it start with the clothing? You know, if I had said no
Yeah.
there.
No, that's controlling. I mean,
Yeah.
that's bypasses a simple grooming. That's complete control. I mean, you can't change a person, you know, they have to want to change for themselves. So you have to honor and respect. And if you like someone, you have to like them for who they are,
Very true.
regardless, because you
Very
can never
true.
change a person. And so many women and men think that can be done. It never works out. Never.
If you think back to a favorite Valentine's Day that you had, can you describe it for us?
Oh my God. I've not had
Not
that
all the
many.
details specifically.
I've actually not had that many. I was once taken out to a very, very nice restaurant, and the whole restaurant was decked out because I'm actually opposed to Valentine's Day. I think it's such a rip-off. It's such, you know, marketing hype. It's just sales, like Christmas is as well. You know, it's just all about selling and making the person feel guilty because they haven't got the proper present or they haven't taken you out for dinner, and it's just rubbish. It should be Valentine's Day every day in our good relationship, you know. But yeah, I mean, nothing outstanding. You know, he didn't pull up on a white horse.
Oh, look, he's here for me. He's on the horse. Oh, I thought it was for me. No. I haven't had many great ones either. I remember one I was taken out to dinner, and then when the dessert came, he had this, I'm not going to say the designer, but a designer bracelet around. It was like a dessert was in a martini glass, and then there was this
Wow.
beautiful bracelet around it, and then in what's it called? In sauce, like the raspberry sauce, they had written "I love you, Jacalyn." And then,
Wow.
of course, we had a big fight in the car on the way back. That was the end of that.
Oh, I forgot. No, my best Valentine's Day was on a cruise ship in the Caribbean. And on
Ah,
Valentine's Day, they had a huge chocolate extravaganza for afternoon tea. And I'm not joking you, there was like 100 chocolate desserts that stretched a mile long on this table. And my boyfriend took me at that time, so we'd be there for Valentine's.
oh,
So that
that's
was very
nice.
special. Yeah.
How
And
much
he
chocolate did you eat?
gave me a lot. And he gave me a card, a Valentine's card, and for the first time he said, "I love you" on it.
Oh, those moments, if you think back to the relationships that you've had, it's like you get to that point, it's like, does he love me? Does he love me? And then he tells you, and I don't know, then it falls apart. No, I'm kidding. True
It's the beginning
confessions.
of the end. Yeah, true
Exactly.
confessions. Oh my God.
So you're not a big fan of Valentine's Day. I have to say I'm not either, really, because I'm celebrating with my mom, which is, many years I've celebrated with my mother or my father and mother. But I find that it's just a day that I acknowledge that I'm proud of myself.
Yeah,
That
I think there's a lot of women that feel sad. It reminds them that they're not in a relationship. So you should go out and celebrate that day with girlfriends or have them over to your home and have, lots of nice food and dessert and champagne, and honor yourself. Love yourself first. And
Yes.
if you can't love yourself first, no one else will love you.
It's very true. We have a show on Fridays. It's called The Power of Etiquette and Manners. And the reason I bring it up is before the pandemic, I went out by myself a lot. I had no problem going out by myself. I had this beautiful apartment that was right across the street from these wonderful restaurants. And I made a lot of friends there. I made friends with the people running it. And so I would just go over there and I'd take my iPad and I'd watch a movie. And I found out during this other show that it's taboo. You should never have any device out when you're out to a dinner by yourself. So then I kind of thought, oh, I guess I won't be going out by myself anymore. Because if you're by yourself and you're not looking at something, what are you supposed to be doing? Just because by the time you eat the food's gone. It's, 20 minutes and you're sitting there and people are like, why is she looking at us? Where am I supposed to look? What are your thoughts about that, going out by yourself?
Well, I travel the world on my own, so I have no problem eating by myself. Back in the day, I was a little bit nervous, but now I don't even think about it. But having a device means that nobody's going to approach you because you're not looking around, you're not seeing who's looking at you, and you don't seem interested. So that's probably what they meant when they said that.
Well, that's exactly why I was doing it, because I wanted to spend my time enjoying my meal. And I don't know, something about me, if you're out at a restaurant or a bar, and I know this has happened to many people, you come in with a certain mindset. Maybe you want to meet somebody, maybe you don't, but then someone sort of monopolizes your time, right? You happen to be sitting next to them and you don't have a connection with this person. And yes, you could be friends with them, but then your whole meal is now taken over by this conversation. It's almost like when you're on a plane. I've seen this so many times. Two people next to each other, the plane starts to take off. Blah, 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 blah. Soon as the plane lands, the one person goes this. They don't even walk the baggage. They this way, that way. It's kind of like, oh, but everybody heard the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So instead of maybe getting some rest or reading a book, just an observation.
Yeah, it's true. I'll always remember I was in Spain in Marbella, and obviously I go and have breakfast and I sit on my own. And there was this guy that would always come in. So one day he came and spoke to me, and he was Israeli, and his question to me was, "How many children do you have?" And I said, "I don't have any." And he went, "What do you mean you have no children?" He goes, "But you're beautiful." He goes, you're not married?" And he was totally shocked. And I was just thinking, what century am I living in? And he just couldn't believe that I wasn't married, I didn't have any children, and what the hell was I doing? And
Wow.
I actually wrote a story about it on Facebook because I just think women are put in a box. If you don't have X, Y, and Z, then you're not good enough. You're not fulfilled enough. You're not a whole person if you're not married and you don't have children. I mean, come on. We're in the 21st century,
Absolutely. Well,
And
I'm not married and I don't have any children either. So there.
yeah, so here's to us. Here's to a
Woo-hoo!
glass of champagne to us.
And we're both pretty happy. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not, I think I know 2 or 3 relationships that are good. The rest, forget it. Marriages, people in relationships, nobody's happy. So I'd rather be on my own and be good with myself and be accepting of myself than be with someone just because.
Exactly. I agree with you. In fact, people are always trying to set me up and I'm not interested. What do you mean you're not interested? I'm just not interested. I want to take my energy and put it where I want to put it. And if you're in a relationship and you want it to work, you have to be present and you have to put energy into it. So it's just not for me at this point in time.
Good for you.
I was just thinking, we were talking about the plane. I have so many stories about being on planes because I used to travel all the time. Some of them are just just hilarious. I was seated in first class next to this very attractive guy. And I knew he was someone. I could just tell the way he carried himself. He's a big guy, big muscular guy, the kind of guy like with big chest and just so long story short, he had this presentation deck that it was sort of like in that clear plastic that you page through. So he had this and he had been reading it. Of course, I wasn't looking over his shoulder, but he put it into the seat pocket in front of him, and the top of it was sticking out. So he had a hat and he put it on over his face, and he kind of like closed his eyes like he was going to go to sleep. So I glanced over at the seat pocket, and here he was, an NFL football player. He was playing in the Super Bowl. So
Wow.
I didn't know what his name was. So while he's sleeping, I'm like looking at Super Bowl, the teams that are playing, like trying to look at the team players.
Why
looking
didn't you just ask the air stewardess? She would have told you.
Well, because he was in the aisle seat and I was in the middle seat. So this way, no, actually, there were only two seats in first class. I was against the window and he was in the aisle. So there's no way I could get her attention or his attention because of him. So anyway, this is hilarious. By the time he wakes up and we're now landing, I figured out he's one of two people. Right. So he turns to me and says, have a great day, whatever. So he takes his presentation and he's now walking with this little bag. So I'm looking at him from behind, like, oh my gosh, it has to be this guy. It has to be this guy. So I start literally running to catch up with him. And I catch up to him and I turn around and throw myself in front of him, like, hi, Jason. Remember, we just were on the plane together? And he's like, yes. And I said, would you like to get together sometime? I actually said that. And he's so much younger than me. So we exchanged numbers and he actually called me and said that he was going to be in the Philadelphia area if I wanted to get together with him. And I said, I would really love to, but I decided that I'm too much older than you. And so I'm not interested. And that was it. I watched him play in the Super Bowl and I thought, what would have happened if?
Oh my God, you silly woman. Listen, in life, you can I just think, you've got to grab every opportunity with both hands because you don't know where it's going to lead. You don't know who you're going to meet when you go to a certain place, or, we should try and keep our options open, and just say yes to everything.
Well, I agree now, but at the time I started evaluating, well, let's see. Let's say we do get along. Then this, well, I'm here and he's over there and I'm not going to change that. Like I already went through the whole process of the relationship before it even happened. So before the first date, I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. Forget it.
Yeah, but that is assumption, and assumption is always a lie.
But I was trying to envision myself.
That is a fantasy that you're creating in your head that is actually not real.
Well, that's true. That is true. But I thought to myself, do I want to go and watch football all the time? Do I want to be hanging out with all these players and doing I was already envisioning what it was going to be like. And I thought, do I want to go to the gym with him? Nah, no. So
see, I was one of these girlfriends. I was with a professional ice hockey player for 7 years.
Wow.
And we traveled around the UK. And he was a celebrity within, the sports. And we led the life. It was great.
So what happened?
We just grew up and grew apart. I was with him from the age of 19 until I was 27. And I knew I would never marry him. It was just, he was my provider. He was very much a womanizer. He was drinking all the time, womanizing all the time, really a big personality. Everybody loved him. Very good looking, tall, the full 9 yards. And yeah, no, well, and he still keeps in touch with me to this day.
Any chance of reconnecting?
Never.
No.
I actually met him a few years late, I met him twice on 2 separate occasions years later. But he got married and he's got a kid now, but he did call me on his wedding day.
Wow. What did he say?
He left a message on my voice on my phone at the time. You were able to leave messages,
Yeah.
and it was all distorted. So to this day, I don't know what he said, but he was having second thoughts for sure.
That's exactly why he called, I'm sure. It's
Yeah.
interesting. At this point in my life, I can look at things from a different perspective. I would say before the pandemic. And you had relationships with people in the past, and then sometimes you get lonely and you think, oh yeah, that guy from high school, he keeps reaching out to me on Facebook, maybe I should get together with him, or this or that. And then you get to a certain point, you're like, no, it didn't work out for a reason.
No, and let me tell you, that happened to me. There was this guy that was gaga over me when I was, I don't know, 19, 20. He was another ice hockey player, actually. And 20 years later, he contacted me. He says, look, me and my family, which was his brother and sister and all the extended family, we're going to Las Vegas. I want to pay for your flight. Why don't you come? So I went, and it was just my feelings were exactly the same that they were 20 years ago. And he felt exactly the same way about me. And I just felt so bad for him, but I had a great time, and I got on very well with his sister, and all these in-laws, they all loved me. And then they left a few days earlier, and I was going to be left alone with him, and I was absolutely
Bye-bye.
crapping myself. I'm like, how am I going to get through this? Oh my God.
So what did you do?
Got drunk. Oh my God. And he was like, he was bitching to me, saying, oh, I feel like I'm back 20 years ago and nothing's changed. And I'm thinking, well, why did you think it would,
Right, exactly.
My
Because
God.
we're still, yes, it's so, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of stories we could share that wouldn't be for this show. But so back to Valentine's Day and getting on our inner goddess. I think what we've shared is that we need to have our inner goddess with us every day. It's not just one
We
day.
do.
It's not for somebody else. It's for us.
Absolutely. And I mean, when you shine from the inside, it shows on the outside, and people are attracted to that energy, and it's there for all to see. I mean, you can see when you look at someone's face if they're light energy or if they're dark energy, if they're happy or if they're sad. I mean, we wear our personalities on our face, on our skin, on the way we dress. So, the more happy and content and in balance you can be inwardly, that automatically shines through.
It's so true. And, because you are an expert in all things related to skin, something that I really struggle with is I am a very happy person. I'm very happy. I'm very grateful, but my skin is not reflecting that. And I'm like, hey, what's up with you, skin? Or do you belong to someone else? No, you belong to me. Why are you flaring up? Any thoughts about that?
This is stress, Dr. Jacalyn.
But I don't feel stressed out.
I think it is. I think you're very, very busy. So the thing is with stress, we all get used to living at a certain stress level and we think it's normal. And it's not until you change the dynamic or go on holiday or go away and relax for a few days that you realize how overwhelmed you are. But this is usually, it's either got to do with stress, it's got to do with food, or it's got to do with topical items that you're using. But more so, something like this is an inward thing. You should go on a detox. Stop eating for a few days. Do a juice cleanse, do a water fast. That would clear it up the quickest.
I could do that, or I could go to a dermatologist on Monday. It's just what I'm doing. But you bring up a good point. I have always been, I'm not someone who shies away from challenges. And when I think back to my life, during my corporate career, I pretty much always had a side gig of something I was doing. I got my master's degree, I got my doctorate. And now with running this platform, plus Dr. Jacalyn, plus everything I do for charity, it's a lot, and everything is literally on spreadsheet. In fact, somebody reached out and said they'd love to have a conversation with me just to catch up, a friend. And I said, I got to look at the spreadsheet. I said, I don't have anything. I got a window on Friday for 15 minutes because everything's on there. So I guess that is a lot.
That's a lot. You need to change that. You really do. You need to give yourself some downtime to nurture yourself. Because if you keep going like that, your pot is going to run empty. And then you're really going to crash and burn.
There's no crashing and burning here, my dear. Well,
we're all just human.
Yes, no, that's true. But I have to say, my other autoimmune diseases are in complete remission, thank God. So I don't know. I still think it has something to do with food.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it is a big reason why we get these flare-ups and eczema and psoriasis and stuff.
Yeah. Plus, I moved to a whole new area. So,
yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. But thanks for indulging with me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So for all of you goddesses out there who are not saying anything, not commenting on anything, it's okay, because we appreciate you, whether you're watching on the live or the replay. And Katrina, I'm going to spotlight you again and just share with our audience the services that you provide and how people can work with you. I know that if they're in Dubai, you're right there. But if they're online, how does that look?
So online, I'm doing a lot of energy clearing these days, working on relationship, career, money, or health. And we can do it online. You don't actually even have to be with me. You just tell me what you want to clear, and then I'll work on the charts to clear that. And I'm also doing coaching, mainly about relationship to self and relationship with your partner. And I do the tarot reading as well, but I do it in a way that it's more like a coaching session. And the cards are like just a tool that I use to get the information that I need, and then it really turns into a coaching session.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
It's been lovely seeing you, and I know Valentine's Day is next week, but I don't even know when. So
Monday.
It's Monday. Okay, Monday. Well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I look forward to seeing you next week.
You too. Take care and happy Valentine's.
Happy goddess.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.
We have a full day of shows today. I'm pretty excited. That was a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And I'll just share with you what we have going today, which is February the 10th. Coming up right at the top of the hour, we have the Corner Bookstore. And our guest, Diane Floyd-Bayman, and myself, our guest is Anne O'Connell. And right after that, we have the Music and Film Show. And my co-host is Madeline Chan, and our guest is Leighton Benta. And following that, we have the Wise Ones, and Red O'Loughlin is my co-host, and our guest is Colleen, and I think you say her name Mir. So we're looking forward to that. And then I'll be teaching the power of listening for 3 hours tonight. So love to share some updates with you very quickly. These are our new shows I just mentioned. This is the Film and Music Show, from Hollywood to Pinewood Studios to Nashville to Broadway to West End. We are featuring incredible performers, people from the performing arts, directors, producers. If you'd like to join us, go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, book your session. Our other new show starting this week is Adversity to Awesome. This is also my new book coming out April the 4th. And I had the privilege of interviewing people who have been through some incredible challenges in their lives, and they have turned around their life to help others. So this show is also about adversity and sharing your stories. Next, we have the Listening Mentor. This is a show we offer 3 times a week. Everyone and anyone is eligible to come onto this show once you have taken the power of listening foundational courses. And you'll see here on this slide on the left-hand side, the foundational courses are parts 1 and 2, where you will learn how to identify behaviors that are conducive to effective and elevated listening, and how to identify behaviors that are not going to promote good conversations, good relationships, or good connections. So please do consider joining me. The ability to be on our team as an elevated listener is available to you. Just go to my personal website, drjacalyn.com, book your session, and sign up for the foundational courses. And lastly, we have a new Power of Listening course. This is part 4. And this is the transition, facing the shadows of ourself. This is a course that I'm offering with Madeline Chan, March the 15th, where we explore how we actually transition from living in a world where we make decisions based on our ego to a world where we make decisions based on inner peace and leading with our heart, lifting up others, looking for ways to support each other and take care of this planet. But how do we transition from one to the other? You'll learn in this course. You can go ahead and book that on Eventbrite. Just put in the Power of Listening, or you can go to my website, drjacalyn.com. All right. Thank you so much. I'll be right back in a few minutes with the Corner Bookstore. We'll see you then. Take care of yourselves. Bye.